Okay, so it cut off in my last video, but I was saying that some people take it a bit too far because it becomes a physical type of satisfaction and addiction. To have these people look at you and be like, you know, you know, just giving you that satisfaction of, um, I'm here, and this is what physically I look like, this is what I feel like to you. So it kind of gets away from the spiritual feel of things, and the spiritual feel of things is what's important. What do you feel in your heart? And that changes as we move forward. So we have to be open to changing, and we have to be flexible in everything. And the physical world, it changes, right? But it also doesn't change in the way that it is deceptions over and over again in all kinds of areas. So we have to keep in touch with the spiritual world, because that world is what we can rely on anytime. In your heart, in your temple, inside, you can connect to God. That's where the truth is. And so I don't want to say that, Jesus is not real. He was real. But it doesn't mean that we should have shrines and stuff like that, um, because it takes us away from who Jesus is really is, which was just a manifestation of God, right, in the flesh. And so we really just need to connect back to God. We don't need necessarily to connect to Jesus. Listen, I don't connect to Jesus, and there's nothing wrong with it. I connect to God, and it's very divine. And you might connect to Jesus, and it's really divine, and that's good. And you might be like not connected to his pictures and to the physical look, the physical feel of him. So that's good. But we have to be extremely careful, extremely careful. So for me, it's better for me not to have these things, right? Because I know God's inside. I know my connection is there, and it never disconnects. It's always there. So everything's inside. We don't need to manifest it in this physical life, in this physical world. We can manifest it inside and around us, around our life, in our relationships, in our everyday life, in our families. We can manifest that godly connection everywhere in our life. We really don't need all this physical stuff, okay? You don't need it. You don't need it. It's a good reminder, but if you're really connected to God, then that's your reminder every day. And everything you do every day in your life, I mean, I'm not going to say it should remind you of God, but for me it does, because everything I do connects to God. It connects to myself, connects to my temple inside, my connection to God. Everything does. So, you should just feel this whenever you want, whenever you feel like it. So yeah, things like Buddha, I mean, there's a lot to say about these things, but these are idols. And actually, these are also tied to false ascended masters and false entities. As great as the teachings are, as great as it is, these are still idols. We don't need idols. This is a physical deception. Now, idols go as far as like politicians and figures in our world. So like this guy's terrible, by the way, terrible. I mean, one of the worst. Okay, one of the worst, I mean that. We can't have idols. We don't know what's behind them. We don't know the entity that's inside them. We don't know. I mean, some of us do know, but we can't have these idols.